Hi everyone, my name is Leanne and today I'm bringing you a book haul. Am I trying to get my TBR down? Yes. Do I keep acquiring books? Also yes. Is this a problem? Probably. But I feel as long as I'm taking more books off my TBR in a month that I'm putting onto my TBR, then it's fine because overall it's going down. I do have 13 books to talk to you about this month. I do think it's possible that I will read more than 13 books in January, although 3 of the books that I've read are borrowed, so really I need to read 16. Well, this has been a good start to the year, isn't it? I'm not going to haul books every month, I don't think. There will be a haul in February, but that's just specifically Irish books, and I needed to buy those for the Irish Readathon. Oh well, let's just get into the books. So the first book I'm going to talk to you guys about is How Do You Like Me Now by Holly Bourne. I picked this one up in a charity shop for like £1, and it definitely shows some signs of it being well loved. The dust jacket isn't in great nick, but for £1, and I really wanted to read this book. This is a book that follows a woman named Tori who really seems to have her life together. She's written this amazing like best-selling memoir that has a lot to do with like female empowerment, but really her own life isn't going exactly how she wanted it to. Like, everyone around her is getting married and having babies, and her relationship with her boyfriend feels very stagnant. It is kind of one of those like woman on the cusp of 30 books that so often will get compared to Bridget Jones. Yeah, there is a Bridget Jones comparison on the cover. But I absolutely love Holly Bourne's writing. I've read quite a bit of her YA, but I think this is her first adult book, so I'm really intrigued to see how I get on with this one. Next, I have A Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. I actually got this one a couple of months ago, but I forgot to haul it. One of my friends got it for me when she was doing some work experience at the publishers. I don't know too much about this book, but it is about a boy named Pablo who is like a college dropout, and like maybe on paper his life doesn't seem to be going that great. And then we have Leanne, who, I need to get over this name because so often people will call me Leanne, or like they will autocorrect to Leanne, and it does my head in. But I will get over that, it's fine. She is like this Instagram child star turned like pop celebrity, and I think it's about the unlikely relationship between these two. I don't really know, but I was really drawn in by this cover. I think it looks so cool, so I'm really intrigued to see what I think of this one. Next, I have Treats by Lara Williams. This is a short story collection, and I decided to pick this one up after I read Lara Williams' novel Supper Club. I really enjoyed that, and I was really intrigued to see what I thought of her short stories. These short stories are all about like basically 21st century life, about loneliness and isolation, about relationships and their aftermath, about sexuality, basically like discovering oneself. These are the kind of stories that I really like, so hopefully I will enjoy these ones as much as I enjoyed Lara Williams' novel. Next, I have Sarah by J.T. Leroy. I picked this one up not really knowing much about it, but I was really intrigued by the cover and also some of the stuff that's mentioned on the back. There isn't a huge amount about the plot on the back, but it says, Cherry Vanilla, 12 years old, with a penchant for short leather skirts and makeup, has one ambition: to become the most famous lot lizard in the business. I don't know what a lot lizard is, but the New York Times said that it was like an Alice in Wonderland on acid, which I kind of feel like Alice in Wonderland is already on acid. These are the kind of books that I always buy on impulse and think that they will be for me, and they very rarely are. But this one's very short, so we'll see how we get on. Next, we have The Mixer by Michael Cox. This is a non-fiction book about football tactics, so please don't turn the video off. I know the Venn diagram of people who subscribe to this channel for bookish content and people who are interested in football. I know the overlap, I know the intersection is quite small. I won't dwell on this. It's a book about football tactics. I love football, and I feel like I know like a bit about tactics. Like, I know a lot about like watching football, and I know like the history of clubs, and I know like some very basic tactic stuff, but I feel like this book will help inform me on like tactics that I know clubs that I enjoy watching do, but I don't necessarily know like what this particular tactic is called, or like how to talk about it in an articulate way. I don't know what I'm trying to say. None of you care about the football books, so I'm just going to carry on. Next, I have Aisha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. This is a Muslim retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I'm in. About Aisha, who has plans of being a poet, but she doesn't have time for that because she's got a really demanding teaching job. On top of that, her family are a little bit intense, and she is meant to be having an arranged marriage with a man that she doesn't like, but she can't stop thinking about him. He's very conservative and judgmental, and she is not those things, and like, they would not work together. Or will they? Cannot wait to read this one. Next, I have Little Friends by Jane Shemmelt. This was sent to me by the publisher, so thank you very much for sending this one my way. I think this is going to be the perfect read for upcoming Thriller-a-thon. This is a book about 3 married couples who kind of have to become friends because their children are friends. All 3 of these marriages are floundering, and while things start quite happy and, you know, they go to barbecues and dinner parties and they go on holidays to Greece together, things become a lot more complicated and affairs start, all the while the women are becoming closer. And while these tensions rise, the parents are so busy watching each other that they forget to watch the children, and that is when tragedy strikes. I'm definitely getting like Big Little Lies vibes from this, so I'm really excited to delve into thrillers a little bit more and find my footing with them, because sometimes I feel a little bit lost. Next, I have a YA book, and that is Indigo Donut by Patrice Lawrence. This has been a book that has been on my radar for ages, and for some reason, I thought it was told in verse. It isn't. I don't know why I thought this, but I'm still really excited to read it. This follows Indigo, who lives with her foster mum, and the relationship that she starts with a boy named Bailey when they meet at sixth form college. Indigo has a secret that could ruin the relationship before it's even begun, and Bailey becomes targeted by a homeless person who seems to know more about Indigo's past than is normal, and he then has to face what seems like an impossible choice. I've been really interested in Patrice Lawrence's writing for a really long time, and I can't help it, I do love a YA romance. Next, I have a book for slightly younger readers, and that is The Secret of Platform 13 by Eva Ibbotson. This book is kind of seen as like a precursor to Harry Potter. It is about a magical portal that opens at Platform 13 at King's Cross. Can you see the parallels already? It appears only once every 9 years, and this time when it opens, 4 mysterious figures step out onto the streets of London. We have a wizard, an ogre, a fairy, and a young hag, and they are on a mission to find the prince that was stolen from their magical island. But when they find the prince, they realise that he is horrible, spoiled, and doesn't get magic. I love middle grade fantasy. I think it's actually one of my favourite genres. It's one that I grabbed from work, and I'm certain it's one that I'm going to enjoy, so I'm sure I will get my hands on the sequel afterwards, even though I'm not meant to be getting more books. Next, I have Future Sex by Emily Witt. I think this is non-fiction, which chronicles the author's experiences of her sexual adventures or misadventures. I love books about sex. I love learning more about it as like a subject matter. This book explores how sex doesn't always live up to expectations, how it can be extremely complicated. It explores online dating, it explores hookup culture. Love books about female sexuality, so yeah, I think I'm going to really enjoy this one. Next, I have another non-fiction book, and that is War Doctor by David Knott. This is another one that I picked up from work, and it follows David Knott, who was a surgeon who went to work as a doctor in major conflicts. So Afghanistan, Sierra Leone, Congo, Iraq, Yemen, Syria, as well as places where there have been natural disasters like Haiti. And this basically just follows his journey and experiences of doing that role. This book follows what I assume will be many of the harrowing experiences that he has gone through, but also how he has trained other doctors to be able to save the lives of those threatened by bombs and bullets. I think it's going to be a really difficult read, but a very important one. Next, I have The Doll Factory by Elizabeth McNeil. This is one that I'm really surprised I haven't read yet. Like, everyone I know who has read it has loved it. This book is set in London in 1850, and it follows what happens after 2 characters meet. One named Iris, who is an aspiring artist, and one named Silas. Iris is asked to model for the artist Louis Frost, and she agrees to do this on the condition that he will teach her to paint. We also follow Silas's obsession that he has had since they met. For this book is full of so many dark twists and turns, so I'm really intrigued to get to it. And the final book I have to talk to you guys about is one that I am so excited for, and that is This Green and Pleasant Land by Aisha Malik. I read Aisha Malik's 2 previous books. What were they called? The first one is Sophia Khan Is Not Obliged. I can't remember what the second one is called. I did enjoy the second one less, but I loved the first book. This is about a couple, Bilal and Mariam, who live in a very, like, typical, quintessential, quiet little English town. On her deathbed, Bilal's mother makes a dying request, and that is he build a mosque in this very small English town. And he's like, oh shit, that's not going to go down well. It's about what happens when he decides he's going to build a mosque. I love this as a jumping off point to explore so many different, like, issues of culture and identity and conflict, and fucking wait to read this book. So there we have it. These are the books that I've acquired recently. A lot of them came from work. Most of them I got in book swaps. A couple of them I picked up for myself. Do leave me a comment down below if you've read any of these books and let me know what you thought of them. Are there any that have piqued your interest after hearing me talk about them? As ever, all of the books that I've spoken about will be linked down below in the description if you want to find out more about them. Will I overall take my TBR down in January? We live in hope. Anyways, if you have any thoughts, do leave a comment down below. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video.